Hi, what's up guys, it's Evan here, and in today's video I'll be giving a fidget spinner tutorial. So I'm just going to be, in this video, you're not going to see my face, I'll just step back. So what I'm going to teach you in this video is a few basic tricks with the fidget spinner, and like a few beginner tricks, and showing you how to fidget spinner and balance it. So let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do with a fidget spinner is you want to learn how to spin it. So it's not hard to learn how to spin it, but I'm just going to teach you anyway. So you hold one of these three parts right here. So to hold a fidget spinner, you'll have it flat. You'll put your middle finger on the bottom of the fidget spinner, just put it on the table, and then whatever side circle, like this one is facing down, that you put your middle finger on that circle. Okay, this circle right here. So you put your middle finger on the bottom of the fidget spinner and your thumb on the top. So that's how you hold it. So what you want to do next is that you just grab one of the pieces. So I'm just going to grab this one right here and then just flick it as hard as I can to the left. That's how you spin it, and there's the grip for you guys. So now I'm going to teach you how to balance it. So what you want to do is that before you try to balance, make sure that your thumb and your middle finger is pretty much almost taking over the whole entire circle. Okay, this circle right here, the part that's like not spinning and like staying stationary, like these circles right there. So those circles. So if you want to balance on your middle finger, just be sure you have your. Honestly, I might just recommend doing the thumb first because your thumb has like a bigger surface area, so it might be easier to hold. But if you balance a fidget spinner without spinning it, you can see that's like very hard to hold it. But if you have it spinning, so what you want to do is that once you have this grip down of holding the fidget spinner, to balance on your middle finger, just let go of the fidget spinner with your thumb. So take your thumb off the fidget spinner and have your middle finger still on it, just like that, and that's how you can balance it. Because if it's spinning while you're balancing it on a finger, it will just stay still and stay on there without falling off. But if you have it not spinning, it's like very hard to balance, because like if you have it spinning and you're balancing it on a finger, there's a very good chance it'll keep on spinning forever, and not forever, but for a good amount of time. And you don't really have to move your finger around to balance it, because it just stays flat and doesn't move at all when you balance it. So like it's like not even like it's not as wobbly as this. It's like very straight, and it just oops. So like when you balance it, make sure your like middle finger is just flat, and like this part of your finger right here, make sure it's just flat right on the bottom of the circle of the fidget spinner, and that's how you perfectly balance it. Same thing with the thumb. So then you flip it over to reverse grip, which is having your middle finger on the top of the fidget spinner and your thumb on the bottom. So to balance on your thumb, just take your middle finger off and just do that same thing I told you about balancing it. Just don't really move your thumb or middle finger around much, or else it'll like get all wobbly like that. Just try to just keep it still, and it'll just balance on its own, just like that. So that's how you balance a fidget spinner on your thumb and middle finger. So now I'm going to teach you some basic tricks. So a trick is learning to catch the fidget spinner. So if you're right-handed, start with your right hand, but if you're left-handed, start with your left hand. So I'm going to teach you how to do like a few basic tricks. So like maybe like going to reverse grip of like holding it, which is not hard. I'm going to teach you some toss-up tricks. So what you want to do for a toss trick is that you want to toss up the fidget spinner and make sure when you toss it up, it's totally flat. So it's easy to catch. So it's like not as hard to catch. If it's like at an angle like that, it's going to be harder to catch. So I suggest like maybe keeping it flat, just like this, and tossing it up. So you have a very good chance of catching it. So catching it in your own hand. So this would be for right hand and left hand. I'm not going to do right hand and left hand because I'm not a left hand. I'm righty. So if you're lefty, please listen to this. So if you're lefty or righty handed, for example, so what you want to do to throw it up and catch it, I'm going to show you how to do it in the same hand, and then I'm going to show you one hand to another. So I'm going to teach you 3 basic tricks. The toss-up with one hand. With one hand, just like that. Hang on. Just like that. Oops. The toss-up, the toss-over, just like that, and reverse grip. I might also teach you one more, the finger transfer as well, so I'll start off with the toss-up, like with your one hand. So what you want to do in this is make sure you're tossing, like I said, make sure you're tossing the fidget spinner up flat. And make sure you're throwing it straight up. Don't throw it straight out or up at an angle, or else it'll be harder to catch. So be sure you're just throwing it straight up, and then make sure your fingers are like lined up with the fidget spinner. Just throw it a little bit. If you throw it just straight up, you just time the catch, just like that. Just make sure you're throwing up, and make sure that your finger and your thumb are lined up like at the, like a vertical line. So like make sure your thumb and middle finger is like a little apart from the center. Sorry about that. So you have an easy chance of catching it. But if you're new to catching, I suggest tossing it like very little, so you can like learn to like kind of get the feel of tossing it, just like that. So that's like something you can learn. Just tossing up a little, I suggest for beginners of fidget spinner tricks of learning this stuff. So be sure you're tossing up like very light, like very little, like not so high. Like if you're really good at catching and you want to make it harder, so toss it a bit higher. And then make sure when you're throwing it, make sure your middle finger is lined up with the bottom of the fidget spinner, and your thumb is lined up with the top. Like the circle that I keep talking about. So just like that. Just toss it up very lightly. Just line it up and catch it. So look, like, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to do like a little motion with catching it. So you're just going to toss it up. Pretend like the fidget spinner is right here, and then I'm just going to close it. So like you're tossing it up. So I'm like, this is like closed grip. I'm opening up my hand, and then once I catch it, I'm closing it, my 2 fingers. It's like this. Just practice that motion, and then once you get it down, it's like you just literally mimic it with the fidget spinner. Just like that. Don't like cheat and just do very lightly, but try tossing it at least like 2 to 3 inches high. Just like that. But if you get really good at this, try throwing it like a bit higher, like that, and you can try like following it. You can just throw it up and just follow with it, or if you want to make it harder, just try to like throw it higher and catch it. So that's how you toss it up with one hand. So now it's with 2 hands. So I suggest if you're catching it, catch it with your dominant hand. So if you're righty, catch it with your right hand and throw with your left. Personally, I'm right-handed, so I would toss it with my left. So then what I would do is that's what it is. So what I would do is that I want to line up my 2 hands like horizontally to each other. So, and then I just toss it over like to the right, and it catches. I mean, honestly, just try one. So what you want to do is that you want to make sure you have the same grip I taught you before with your non-dominant hand. So I suggest throwing it with your non-dominant hand and catching it with your dominant hand. I mean, that's what I recommend. So if you're lefty, throw with your right and catch with your left. I mean, that's what I might recommend. So what you want to do is just start spinning the fidget spinner, and have your right hand, like with the circles of the fidget spinner, have them line up, your 2 fingers line up with the fidget spinner, just like this. Don't have it like down, but this is if I was in a horizontal view holding it like this is what it would look like. So my hands are vertical, so then once I would throw it up, and then I would throw it across to the right, or if you're right-handed, throw it to the left. And then you don't really have to move very wildly while catching it. Like, you don't have to like throw it like very high and just go up and catch it. Just throw it very little. Just throw it very subtle. Just be very subtle. Don't like be very subtle, just doing it like this. I mean, if you want to practice this way and get good at it, I mean, that's what you can do. But if you want to just try practicing it from very close, just like that, just having like the fidget spinner right next to each other. I mean, that's a tip I recommend, but just make sure like your hands are lined up with each other while you catch it. If you want to just start off very easy, and this is if you throw it like from arm's length, which is like this, and it's like too hard, have your hands like very close like this, and then just get used to like catching it on the circles while it's spinning. If you catch it and it's not spinning, it's not technically counted as a catch with a fidget spinner. You have to catch it while it's spinning. So if you want to like practice this, I suggest sorry I'm dropping this so much. So I suggest like practicing by just having your hand like your dominant hand like literally right next to the non-dominant hand with the fidget spinner, and just like try throwing it across like very subtle and catching it. Like throwing it very lightly and catching it. Don't throw it so wild or else it'll be very hard to catch it. So, I mean, honestly, if you get good at just catching it in general from very close, widen your arms just a little bit and then just try. It's all in the non-dominant hand of throwing it. That's the key when it comes to this trick. See? So that's how you do a toss over with a fidget spinner, throwing it from your non-dominant hand to your dominant hand. So the third trick I'm going to teach you is a reverse grip. So a reverse grip is literally like the catch I taught you first of just throwing it up and catching it. Except the twist is that you're just practice this motion first without the fidget spinner. Except you're doing the same thing, but you're just switching your grip as you catch it. So normal grip is having your thumb on top, middle finger on bottom. You're gonna when you catch it, you're gonna flip it over and when you catch it, you're gonna have your middle finger on the top of the spinner and your thumb on the bottom. So that's a very key. So if you want to practice like spinning it like this, I mean knowing the reverse grip, you can. But that's not technically cheating for a catch. So what you're gonna do is like do the toss up I taught you. Like practice the toss up with one hand. You're just gonna do that same thing I taught you with tossing it up very lightly. Just toss it up very lightly if you're new to catches. That's what I recommend. And also for this trick as well. So practice catching it like this, and once you have that trick down, you're ready for the reverse grip, which is literally throwing it up very lightly and catching it with your middle finger on top and your thumb on the bottom. It can be a little tough at first, but once you get just do the same thing I taught you of like having the fidget spinner in range of your fingers. Like if you want to make it easier, like the toss up I showed you, it's like in between your fingers when you toss it. Just like that. Reverse grip can be kind of tough though because it's not really in range. I mean, it can be once you flip your fingers over. Sorry, I'm trying to do the trick for you guys, and this is actually a little bit of a tough trick for me as well. I'm not that great with fidget spinners, but it's okay. This trick is actually a little bit tough. I mean, for beginners, it can be kind of hard. There we go. So like I said, just practice tossing it up and just getting used to that toss. And then once you're ready, just try flipping your fingers around like this. Just do this motion with me. Just try like doing that motion of like you tossing it up, for example, and then just flipping your fingers around. Just practice this motion. Just like that. And then once you have that down, try it with the fidget spinner. That's what I recommend. This is indeed probably one of the hardest tricks. There are going to be 2 easy tricks in this, 2 hard tricks. So I think all might be a little difficult. I don't really know, but we're going to move on to the last trick, which is the finger transfer. So the finger transfer is... So first, for this trick, you need to know how to balance a fidget spinner on your finger, which I already taught you earlier. Please go check that out if you haven't. So what you want to do is that literally just... To have your finger transfer, it's like the toss-up I taught you, but it's a bit different. You want to be very subtle or gentle in your toss Because if you toss it very high, it's going to be hard to catch it on your finger. So like you just throw it, all you do is just throw it very lightly, like that, or like that, and then just replace it with one of your other fingers, like my pointer finger or my ring finger. Just like that. I mean, just practice, if you want to just practice tossing it up and catching it or balancing it at the same time, do it on your middle finger. Like, do a subtle or gentle toss onto your middle finger and try to see if you can balance it. I mean, that's what I recommend you do before you start this trick. Just do that. Just toss it up very gently, very lightly. And then once you have that catch down, just doing this. And then you're ready to just switch it over to another finger like that. So all I have to say for this trick is that if you're throwing it, catching it, starting it with your middle finger, I mostly highly suggest catching it, throwing it up, and then catching it with your ring finger. Honestly, you can try ring finger and pointer finger to see which one's easier for you. That's what I highly recommend. But before you start this trick, like I said, make sure you're practicing just the up catch, just tossing it up and catching it with just your middle finger, not your thumb. You're not allowed to, you can't really use your thumb for this trick. So yeah, I guess that's all going to be it for today. If you guys want to see, that's going to be it for this tutorial video. Please leave a like down below and subscribe and leave a comment on some other tutorial videos you want me to teach you guys. Alright, I'll catch you guys soon. Later, guys.